She walked into the hospital with no cameras, no entourage, just a stack of gifts and an act of kindness that would change lives forever. The morning was calm but cold, with frost decorating the windows of St. Mary's Children's Hospital in Cleveland, Ohio. Inside, the halls were quiet, save for the occasional sound of a nurse's shoes tapping the polished floor. The day was supposed to be just like any other. Routine checkups, comforting children, and the daily struggle of finding smiles in difficult circumstances. But then, something extraordinary happened. A sleek black car pulled up to the hospital entrance. Out stepped Melania Trump, a figure recognized worldwide. Yet here she was, without an entourage of reporters or a frenzy of flashing cameras. The hospital staff, initially caught off guard, quickly adjusted as she entered with a calm but purposeful stride. In her arms were brightly wrapped packages, large, small, colorful, and neatly tied with satin ribbons. The surprise was palpable, and whispers spread like wildfire. "She's here?" a nurse murmured to another as they peered down the hallway. Melania's expression wasn't the polished, distant smile often captured in public appearances. Instead, she wore a look of quiet determination. As she approached the reception desk, she spoke softly but warmly. "I'd like to visit the children today," she said. "I have some gifts for them." There was no press release, no preamble, just her gifts, and an unexpected kindness that left the staff in awe. They led her to the pediatric ward, where the day was about to turn into something unforgettable. This is where the story truly begins, the nurse thought to herself, unsure of the impact that awaited. As Melania Trump walked through the brightly decorated pediatric ward, the atmosphere began to shift. Nurses paused their rounds, their expressions a mix of curiosity and cautious excitement. Parents glanced up from their seats, wondering if they should approach, while the children, many too young to fully grasp who she was, watched with wide eyes, more captivated by the colorful packages in her arms than the person carrying them. The ward was alive with cheerful murals painted along the walls, smiling suns, playful animals, and rainbows stretching from one corner to the next. Yet, there was a heaviness here too, an unspoken weight carried by every parent and child facing battles no one should have to endure. Melania seemed to notice this immediately, her gaze softening as she moved from room to room. The first stop was a boy named Caleb, a 7-year-old who had just come out of surgery for a heart condition. His parents stood protectively by his side, exhaustion etched on their faces. Melania knelt down beside Caleb's bed, her tall figure almost disappearing as she leaned closer. "Hi, Caleb," she said gently, her voice carrying an unexpected warmth. "I brought something for you." From the top of her stack, she pulled out a package wrapped in bold red paper. Caleb's small fingers reached out hesitantly, and as he tore through the wrapping, his eyes lit up. It was a model airplane kit, something he had mentioned to his nurses weeks ago. His parents exchanged glances, their faces softening with gratitude. She didn't linger too long, giving Caleb a moment to enjoy his gift while she moved to the next room, and then the next. Each child's reaction was different, some shy, some bursting with excitement, but the pattern was the same. Genuine smiles, laughter, and an easing of the tension that often filled the ward. For the hospital staff, it was a moment of wonder. How does she know what each child would love? A nurse whispered to a colleague. The answer wasn't clear, but it was evident that these gifts weren't generic or hastily chosen. They felt personal, almost as though someone had taken the time to listen to the quiet wishes of these children. The moment that truly silenced the whispers came when Melania entered the room of Emma, a 9-year-old girl with leukemia. Her encounter with Emma would be unlike any other that day, and it was here that the visit would leave an indelible mark on everyone who witnessed it. But what happened next, one nurse would later recall, was something none of us could have prepared for. Emma's room was at the end of the hall, quieter than the others. A pale blue scarf covered her head, and a small stack of sketchbooks lay neatly on the side table next to her bed. She was propped up on pillows, her frail frame a testament to the long months of treatment she had endured. Despite everything, there was a spark in her eyes, dimmed but not extinguished. Melania entered with the same gentle demeanor she'd carried throughout the ward. Emma looked up, her fingers instinctively curling around the pencil she had been using to sketch a small flower on the corner of a page. "Hi, Emma," Melania said, her voice softer than usual. I hear you're quite the artist. Emma's lips curled into a small, cautious smile. She nodded but didn't say a word, her eyes flickering between Melania and the brightly wrapped packages in her hands. It was as though she couldn't quite believe this moment was real. Sitting on the edge of the bed, Melania placed one of the packages in Emma's lap. The paper was lavender with silver stars, carefully wrapped with a ribbon that Emma untied slowly, savoring each second. Inside was a wooden box, intricately carved with her name etched into the lid. She opened it, revealing an array of professional art supplies, paints, brushes, pencils, and a palette. Emma's breath caught. This is for me?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. Melania smiled and nodded. "It's all yours. I heard you dream of being an artist someday. You deserve the very best." Tears welled up in Emma's eyes, but she didn't cry. Instead, she reached out, holding the box close to her chest, as though it were the most precious thing she'd ever owned. For a moment, the room was silent except for the soft rustling of the ribbon as it fell to the floor. The nurses standing at the door exchanged glances, their own eyes brimming with emotion. Emma's mother, seated in the corner, quietly wiped away a tear. "Thank you," she mouthed to Melania, her voice too choked to speak aloud. But Melania wasn't done. Reaching into her coat pocket, she pulled out a small card and handed it to Emma. "This is for the art therapy program here," she explained. "I've made a donation so that you and the other children can have even more opportunities to create. Art is a powerful thing. It can heal in ways words sometimes can't." Emma looked at the card, then back at Melania. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. The gratitude in her eyes spoke louder than words ever could. As Melania stood to leave, she glanced back at Emma one last time. "Keep drawing," she said with a smile. "The world needs more artists like you." Emma held up her sketchbook, her smile growing. "I will." The moment stayed with everyone who witnessed it. A nurse later remarked, "It wasn't just the gift. It was the way she made Emma feel seen, like she truly mattered. That's something no one can put a price on." And as Melania walked out of that room, another staff member added, "We realized the ripple of kindness she left behind was only just beginning." Word of Melania's visit began to spread throughout the hospital. Staff whispered in the hallways, parents exchanged glances, and children peeked out from their rooms, curious to catch a glimpse of the woman who had brought a little magic to their day. But Melania wasn't there for recognition. Her focus was entirely on the children, ensuring that each moment she spent with them was genuine and meaningful. In the hospital's break room, nurses gathered during their shift change to share what they'd seen. One of them, a young nurse named, wiped tears from her cheeks as she recounted the moment Melania handed Emma the art supplies. "It wasn't just a gift," she said. "It was a reminder that these kids' dreams still matter, even in the face of everything they're going through." But the most significant impact came later that day when the hospital's director called a meeting. Melania had left behind more than just gifts. She donated $50,000 specifically for the hospital's art therapy program. This program, which had always struggled with funding, was now able to purchase new materials, hire additional staff, and expand its reach to more children. Emma's mother was among the parents in attendance when the announcement was made. She stood in the back of the room, clutching her purse tightly as tears streamed down her face. "It's not just about my daughter," she said, her voice trembling. "It's about all the kids here. This will give them hope. And when you're in a place like this, hope is everything." Over the next few weeks, the program flourished. Children who had never picked up a paintbrush before began creating vibrant, expressive artwork that adorned the hospital walls. The once muted colors of the ward were now bursting with life, a visual testament to the power of creativity and the generosity of one unexpected visitor. Emma's art in particular began to catch everyone's attention. Using her new supplies, she painted a mural in the corner of her room, a large tree with its branches stretching wide, each leaf representing a dream. Nurses, doctors, and patients came to see it, marveling at the depth of emotion in her work. One day, as she added the final touches, Emma turned to her mother and said, "When I'm better, I want to paint something even bigger, something the whole hospital can see." Her mother smiled, squeezing Emma's hand. "You will, sweetheart. I know you will." And in a way, Melania's kindness had planted that tree. Each branch and leaf was a reflection of the hope she had sparked, not just in Emma, but in everyone who walked those halls. What no one expected, however, was how far-reaching this act of kindness would become. A doctor later said, "It was just the beginning." Despite her quiet departure, the story of Melania's visit didn't remain a secret for long. It wasn't Melania herself who spoke of it. She had left the hospital with little fanfare, slipping back into her car and on to the next destination. Instead, it was the staff and families at St. Mary's who began sharing their experiences, unable to keep such a powerful moment to themselves. The first spark came when a nurse posted a photo of Emma's mural on social media, along with a caption that read, "This is what hope looks like. A young girl battling leukemia, inspired by a stranger's kindness. Thank you, Mrs. Trump, for reminding us what compassion can do." The post quickly gained traction, spreading far beyond the local community. Soon, national news outlets picked up the story. Headlines ranged from "Melania Trump's quiet visit changes lives at St. Mary's Hospital" to "First Lady's generosity fuels art therapy program for sick children." The coverage was overwhelmingly positive, focusing not on Melania's celebrity status, but on the profound impact of her actions. Emma's mural became a symbol of the story, with photos of the vibrant tree appearing in articles, news segments, and even online art communities. A reporter who visited the hospital later wrote, "It's not just a painting, it's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the ripple effect of one thoughtful gesture." But not everyone was focused on the media buzz. At the hospital, the children were more excited about their growing art therapy sessions. Emma, in particular, found herself at the center of attention, not because of her illness, but because of her talent. Her sketches and paintings became a source of inspiration for the other kids, who began creating their own pieces with newfound confidence. Meanwhile, Emma's mother struggled to put her gratitude into words. "She didn't just visit and leave," she said during a local news interview. "She gave these kids a chance to feel normal, to dream, and to express themselves. That's something no amount of medicine can provide." As the story continued to spread, it reached unexpected places. An anonymous donor was so moved by Melania's visit that they matched her $50,000 contribution to the hospital, doubling the program's budget. Messages of support poured in from around the country, with people offering art supplies, volunteering their time, or simply sending words of encouragement. For Melania, the reaction was likely far from what she intended. She had entered the hospital quietly, without cameras or announcements, and yet her actions had resonated far beyond those four walls. What started as a private gesture of kindness had become a beacon of hope, reminding everyone that even the smallest acts of compassion can create waves of change. But for the families at St. Mary's, Emma's mother said, it wasn't about the media or the headlines. It was about seeing their children smile again, even if just for a moment. As the weeks turned into months, the effects of Melania's visit continued to ripple through St. Mary's Children's Hospital. The art therapy program became a cornerstone of the hospital's holistic approach to care, with Emma's tree mural standing as a vibrant reminder of what hope and creativity could achieve. New murals began to appear, each one unique and bursting with the personality of the children who created them. Emma's health began to improve, and with each passing day, her confidence grew. She became something of a mentor to the younger children in the program, encouraging them to draw, paint, and express themselves in ways they had never considered before. "Art isn't just about making something pretty," she once told a group of children gathered in the art room. "It's about showing the world how you feel, even when words aren't enough." The hospital staff noticed a shift, not just in the children but in their families too. Parents who once felt helpless began joining their kids in art sessions, creating alongside them and finding a new way to connect during the most challenging moments of their lives. "It's like she lit a spark," one parent said during a hospital fundraiser. "And now that spark is lighting up all of us." The moral of the story wasn't lost on anyone who heard it. Melania's visit wasn't about grand gestures or public recognition. It was about seeing people, truly seeing them, and meeting them where they were. Her actions reminded everyone that kindness doesn't need an audience to be powerful. Sometimes it's the quietest gestures that make the loudest impact. Emma's mother summed it up best during an interview. "When you're in a place like this, you start to realize what really matters. It's not about who you are or how much you have. It's about what you're willing to give. And when you give with your heart, it changes everything. The story of Melania's visit spread far beyond Cleveland, inspiring countless others to act with compassion and generosity in their own communities. Teachers introduced art therapy sessions in schools, organizations launched similar programs in hospitals across the country, and individuals found small ways to bring light to those around them. But perhaps the most important lesson, one of the hospital's art therapists said, is that kindness isn't limited by who you are or what you do. It's something we can all choose to share, every single day. The story of Melania Trump's unannounced visit to St. Mary's Children's Hospital serves as a powerful reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness can create a ripple effect far greater than we might ever imagine. From a box of art supplies to a heartfelt donation, her gestures ignited hope in a place where it was often hard to find. But the story doesn't have to end here. Think about your own life. What small act of kindness could you offer today? It doesn't have to be grand. Sometimes a simple smile, a listening ear, or a thoughtful gesture can make all the difference. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who might need a little inspiration. And if you're able, consider supporting a children's hospital or local charity in your own community. Together, we can spread the light of compassion and make the world a little brighter, one act of kindness at a time. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this one. And remember, you have the power to make a difference, no matter how small the gesture might seem.